In this quick video guide, we're going to talk about unwrapping the material onto your object and how you can use that texture that you unwrapped to create packaging or basically to paint and apply graphics in your object onto your object. So what we're going to do here is something really easy. I don't want to create a too long tutorial. So the cube, it's really easy to use for unwrapping, and this is actually already unwrapped. So if we go here to UV editing, this is where we can see the unwrap, and you can see that basically uh, your object that it's visualized in 3D here is visualized in 2D. So each single face here is represented in a different space. Now, the really important thing about unwrapping and mapping in general is that you don't have overlapping faces, overlapping uh, polygons. So that could cause problems. So that's why you need to unwrap your objects if you want to use packaging and if you want to use 3D painting. So let me go back here and let's say that I want to create some variation to this. Now, first of all, I want to apply a material just to show you. So I'm going to change the visualization to material preview up here, and then I'm using Blender Kit. Now, if you're interested in Blender Kit, it's a really useful tool. You will find other video guides dedicated to this, but in this video, I'm just going to go and assign a material from here, or you can create your own material. If you don't know how to do it, I suggest you look at other video guides in the channel and also at the Blender video course. So I'm gonna get one simple texture here, like this one here, and apply it. Just clicking and dragging, I will apply the texture, and then I can close this, and you can turn this on and off. And let's see, there you go. So now it's visible, and I don't really know how this is mapped, so I need to go here to see it. But just this is just to show you how the logo here of Blender and the mapping is visible now. The material is visible. So if I go here, I can see the texture, and this is how it's mapped. So if I want to have this bigger or smaller, I need to scale or resize this. So I need to select these faces, and if I scale those, you can see that, let me show you here. I need to scale it like this. So let's try it like this. So if I go back here in the layout, you can see these are looking smaller. And this is kind of a basic packaging, kind of a gift wrapping. So now I just want to modify a little bit this cube. So I'm going to go here to object mode and do edit mode. And I'm going to like push these faces like this, and then push it like this. And then let's say that I want to create like a box that it's a little bit more complex than this. Also, I'm going to turn off the proportional editing here. So let's say that I want to extrude this side, and I want to also extrude this other side. Now you can see what's happening. The texture is stretching, and something is wrong with the packaging. It's not working anymore because I have now another object. So I cannot use the same unwrap map with a different object that has different sizes for the faces and also extra faces that it didn't have before. So I need to recreate the unwrapping. I need to recreate the unwrap map. So I need to go back here to UV editing, and again select all the faces here, select all, and you can see it's still with the previous number of faces, which is not possible. So I can also click with the middle mouse here and scroll this toolbar horizontally and select the material preview also here, so we can already see what's happening. So the quickest way to do this, and this is not a complex object, so there are like 4 or 5 ways to do this, but if you have a complex object you need to unwrap, you need to create seams, it's more complex. Let's do something really quick. So right click and go to UV unwrap faces. This is what we need to do. Before we actually create packaging or 3D painting, we need unwrapping. So I'm gonna use UV unwrap faces, and you can use here, let me show you the standard unwrap. And I don't think this is gonna work because yeah, it's not working. So let's try with another one. So again, unwrap faces, and let's do light map pack. Now here, let's say okay, and now you can see that everything looks fine again. meaning that everything is well, there are no overlapping faces here, and everything is well organized. This is good for light maps in applications for video games. But you can see there is some cut here. It's not really like the best thing I would do here. And also another thing I want to do, actually, let me just go back here in object mode, and I want to go to object and apply all transform. So I want to make sure that everything it's okay. So I want to do this extra step. And now let's go back here and let's try with another Unwrap. So you have also Smart UV project. And I think this is a little bit better. Now, it depends where you want to have the cuts. So if you have like this side, well, you need to have some cuts, some scene somewhere. So it's just a matter of where I'm going to place those. And you can also use the cube projection. You can see it's projecting from, since this is a pretty cubic shape, I can use cubic projection. It will work better, I think. So I'm going to keep this one here, but you can continue and try also with other types of mapping and unwrapping right here. So once I have the mapping, I can proceed with the other steps. So the next step would be texture paint. So first we unwrap, then we go to texture paint. It's mandatory that we have a correct mapping and a correct unwrapping before we can use the texture paint. And it's also mandatory that we have a texture to paint on. Now is taking the texture from the image that I've chosen, the material that I've chosen from Render Kit. Now I can adjust the radius, the strength, and I start to paint on this box. You can see, and you can change the color here. Let's use this one here. Okay. So depending on how it's your mapping, you're gonna paint like continuously. You can see there is here also a part. So it works pretty well once you have unwrapped everything. Now, if I don't want to use this texture, I can create another material and use another texture, essentially. So right now I'm using this material, but if I go back, well, actually not go back, let's go to shading mode. So I'm gonna select this object here, and this is the material and the mapping, and this is the texture right here. So if I create another material, if I go here and just create another one and get rid of this one, you will see that I don't have a texture. So if I go back to texture paint, it's gonna look pink because I don't have a texture. So all I need to do here is create a texture from here, which is gonna be a base color. And then I can change it in in another software. I can export it, I can customize it. So make sure you have a texture, essentially. Otherwise, you cannot paint, first of all. And second of all, you cannot like work with the packaging. So I'm gonna use the previous one. So I'm just gonna go back. I wanna use this material right here, which I already used and painted on. So let's export this texture and then work with other application. Now you have some tools that you can use in Blender if you want to do a little bit of graphic design. But I think that you find this a little bit more difficult here, and probably it's better to use Photoshop or Pixar or GIMP or other graphic design application. So what I'm gonna do is go to UV editing, and I'm gonna export this. So I'm gonna go to the image, and I'm going to save as, and I'm gonna save this as a file here. I have a folder called UV. I'm gonna call this Blender UV Unwrap for packaging. Okay, and I'm gonna save it as an image. Now to edit this image and do a little bit of packaging, I will use Pixar, because it's a free online editor, and I can use it here directly in my browser. I don't need to download or install anything. I need to register though, and you have some limits, but for what we need to do, it's gonna be okay. And I'm going to open up the image that I've just saved. I'm sorry that's in Italian, but it's really easy, so no need to explain that stuff. And this is the texture right here. So I'm gonna open it up, and you can see the faces. Well, it's better if you work more on your software so that you can see the faces a little bit better. But well, essentially here we can start to paint around. We have brushes also here. I think this one here, this operation like this, you can do it in Blender. no problem. But if you need to work like with text or like other applied graphics, well, it's probably better to work in a software like this, so you can like create tests and you can place it and change it and so on. And let me see here what else I can do. I can apply a logo. So if I go to levels or layers and go to add new layers with image, I'm doing the translation here so you can understand. I can get a logo real quick just to show you, and there you go. Let's take this one here. Okay, and let's up. Oh, I don't want to add other text. I'm going to delete this. I want to get this logo by selecting, and I want to transform it, make it like a little bit smaller right here. Again, this is just an example. Once I'm finished, I'm going to export in PNG rapidly. So quick export in PNG, save it in my same folder, in my UV folder, and let's call this UV custom packaging, customized packaging. So I'm gonna save it, and let's go back to Blender. Okay, now in Blender, let's go to the shading mode again, and just gonna change here with the new texture. So all I need to do is get here, select the texture, click on the folder, and select the customized one. And there you go. So this is just, a quick tutorial just to show you. Again, if you're interested, you can check our other video guides, video courses that we have in the channel. And so that's it. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated, subscribe. If you want to support us and say thanks, please join as a supporter to the channel. And that's it. Thanks, and see you in the next video guide.